Why you don't need friends after 70. Real truth no one talks about. There comes a point in life, often somewhere after 70, when many people quietly ask themselves a question they never imagined they would ask when they were younger. Do I actually need friends anymore? The pace of life has changed. You may no longer go to work, your children might be busy with their own lives, and many of the people who once filled your world are gone, moved away, or drifted into the background. There are mornings when you wake up, make your tea or coffee, sit in your favorite chair, and you realize most of your day will be spent in your own company. Some older adults feel perfectly fine with that. In fact, they might even feel relieved. No more drama, no more fake conversations, no more one-sided friendships where they did all the giving. Others feel a deeper ache under the surface. They say things like, "I'm used to being alone," but what they really mean is, "I don't know how to ask for more anymore." Our topic today sounds almost brutal. Why you don't need friends after 70. But the truth is more complex, more honest, and more compassionate than that. In this video, we're going to explore why so many seniors feel like they no longer need friends. What is real about that feeling? What is dangerous about it? And how to tell the difference between healthy solitude and quiet suffering. By the end, my goal is not to tell you whether you should or shouldn't have friends, but to help you understand your own heart more clearly. Firstly, why many seniors decide they don't need friends. The first thing we have to acknowledge is that many seniors arrive at this belief through experience, not theory. Friendship is not just a word, it is made of real history. You remember betrayals. You remember being taken advantage of. You remember people disappearing when life got hard. You remember giving your best years to others, children, partners, friends, co-workers, often putting your own needs last. By the time you reach 70 or beyond, you may feel like you've given enough. The emotional bank feels empty. On top of that, energy is not what it used to be. Going out, getting dressed, making conversation, keeping up with other people's problems. It can feel exhausting. You might think, at my age, peace is more important than people. And in some ways, that is understandable. You have earned the right to choose calm over chaos. There is also a practical side. Travel is harder. Hearing might be weaker. Crowds feel overwhelming. You may worry about falling, feeling confused in new places, or being a burden. Without planning it, you simply start saying no more often than yes, and gradually, the social world shrinks. Somewhere in that slow contraction, the mind starts to adjust its story. I don't have many friends anymore becomes, I don't really need friends. Sometimes this is genuinely true. The need has changed. Sometimes it is self-protection. Secondly, the difference between needing less and needing no one. There is a big difference between needing fewer friends and needing no one. When you were younger, you may have had many types of friends: co-workers, neighbors, social groups, parents from children's schools, hobby friends, casual acquaintances. At that stage of life, it was normal to have a wide circle. Now, after 65 or 70, your needs are different. You may no longer want lots of people in your life. You may prefer depth over quantity, one or two meaningful connections rather than a crowd. That shift is healthy. As people age, their emotional priorities change. Research on older adults shows that many become more selective. They choose people who feel safe, respectful, and kind. They let go of those who bring stress, gossip, or conflict. So if you feel like you have fewer friends and you are perfectly content with that, it may simply mean your heart has grown wiser. But there is a hidden danger when "I need fewer people" turns into "I don't need anyone." Human beings at any age are still wired for connection. Your nervous system still calms down when someone listens to you. Your brain still lights up when someone shares a laugh with you. Your body still responds to the warmth of a hug or a gentle touch on the arm. Needing fewer people is a natural part of aging. Convincing yourself that you need no one at all is usually a way to protect yourself from disappointment, but it comes at a price. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment "success" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Thirdly, the real cost of saying "I'm fine alone" when you're not. There is a certain pride in saying "I'm fine on my own." Independence is powerful. Many seniors in the USA, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand grew up being taught to be strong, to cope quietly, to not burden others. But sometimes the sentence "I'm fine alone" is half truth, half armor. When you tell yourself you don't need anyone, you avoid rejection. If you don't reach out, no one can ignore you. If you don't ask for company, no one can say they are too busy. If you never say "I feel lonely," no one can dismiss your pain. The belief that you don't need friends can feel safer than trying and being disappointed. But emotionally and physically, long-term isolation has consequences. Loneliness has been linked to higher risk of depression, faster cognitive decline, more heart problems, and even shorter lifespan. It quietly affects your sleep, your appetite, and your motivation. It can slowly drain the color out of your days until every day feels like a copy of the last one. If you truly enjoy your own company and feel peaceful most of the time, that is one thing. But if you often feel numb, tired of speaking to no one, or secretly jealous when you see others interacting, then "I don't need friends" may not be truth. It may be a wound. Fourthly, the quiet strength of healthy solitude. Now, here is the part no one talks about clearly. It is absolutely possible to be alone without being lonely. There is a version of solitude that is not harm, but healing. After 70, many people discover a calm they never had when they were busy raising children, working long hours, or attending constant social events. You might finally have time to read, to rest, to think, to pray or meditate, to enjoy simple pleasures without rushing. Healthy solitude feels spacious, not suffocating. It feels like a choice, not a sentence. You can spend a whole day in your own company, and when you ask yourself, "How do I feel right now?" the answer is something like, "I feel at peace," or "I feel okay," or "I feel content." You don't feel constantly desperate for someone to call. You don't feel worthless because no one came by. In this kind of solitude, you may still have one or two connections: a neighbor you greet, a family member you talk to, a person at a shop you see regularly. You might not call them friends in the traditional sense, but they add threads of connection to your life. You may also feel connected in other ways, to nature, to your faith, to memories that still warm your heart. Healthy solitude means your world may be quieter, but it is not empty. Fifthly, the science. Why some seniors prefer less, but still need some psychologically and biologically. Older adults often become more emotionally selective. This isn't a flaw, it's an adaptive change in the brain. You value your time differently. You have less patience for superficial relationships and more appreciation for people who are genuine. You've learned, sometimes through painful experience, that not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. At the same time, your brain and body still benefit greatly from social contact, even in small doses. Friendly interaction helps regulate stress hormones, supports immune function, and stimulates the memory and language centers in the brain. A simple conversation can boost your mood more than you might expect. Laughing with someone is a form of emotional exercise. So the science suggests this. You may not need many friends, but you do better with some human connection than with none. The real truth is that both things are valid. You can honor your need for peace while also acknowledging that a life completely cut off from other people tends to harm more than it heals. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment clarity below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sixthly, redefining what friend means after 70. Part of the problem is that many people are still using a young person's definition of friend. When you were younger, a friend might have meant someone you saw often, went out with, traveled with, or shared many activities with. After 70, that model often no longer fits. Energy is limited, health can be unpredictable, and schedules don't line up the same way. Caring for yourself emotionally at this stage of life may require redefining what you call a friend. A friend might be someone you talk to on the phone twice a month. A friend might be a neighbor you share a short chat with across the fence. A friend might be the person at the local shop who always greets you by name. A friend might even be a younger person who helps you with small tasks while you share stories with them. When you allow the definition to loosen, it becomes easier to recognize that you do have little islands of connection in your life. They may not look like the friendships you had at 20 or 40, but they still count. Recognizing them can soften the hardness of the idea, I don't have any friends, and turn it into, my friendships look different now. Seventhly, how to care for your heart without pretending. The real truth no one talks about is that you are allowed to be complicated. You are allowed to value your independence and still feel lonely at times. You are allowed to enjoy your solitude most days and still wish, every now and then, that someone would sit with you and ask how you're truly doing. You are allowed to feel disappointed by past friendships and still be open to new, lighter forms of connection. Caring for yourself after 70 means telling the truth to yourself, even if you never say it to anyone else. Ask yourself quietly, am I genuinely at peace in my solitude, or am I hiding behind it? If you realize you are more lonely than you've admitted, you do not have to jump into crowds. You can start very small. You might say hello to one person more often. You might join a small group with low expectations. You might phone someone you haven't spoken to in a while and see how it feels. If, on the other hand, you truly feel calm and fulfilled with minimal social contact, you can stop letting others make you feel guilty for not having a big circle. You can simply keep an eye on your mood, your energy, and your health, and make sure you are not using total isolation as a shield against the possibility of being hurt again. Here are our final thoughts. So, do you really not need friends after 70? The real truth is this: you probably do not need as many friends as you once had. You may no longer want constant social activity. You may prefer your own company more than ever before. That is normal. That is valid. But it is also true that your mind and body still benefit from some kind of connection, light, gentle, manageable. You do not have to choose between being constantly surrounded or totally alone. There is a middle ground where you honor your limits, protect your peace, and still let a little bit of human warmth into your life. Whether that warmth comes from one trusted person, a few casual connections, or small everyday interactions, it matters. If you have been telling yourself, "I don't need anyone," I invite you not to judge yourself, but to gently ask, is that strength speaking, or is that hurt? Whatever the answer is, your heart deserves understanding, not judgment. Thank you for spending this time with us. If this video gave you something to think about, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating honest, compassionate content for seniors all around the world. Until next video, grow wise, live deeper,